Still think I'm adorable?
When Robot announced that Monster Girl would be a part of Guardians of the Globe, new fans definitely wondered why she was even selected, but they soon got their answer when Monster Girl truly showed off her capabilities in the next scene. Even though she looks 12, Monster Girl is not what she seems to be. Her sassy retorts quickly made her a fan favorite. So today, we will look into her and learn about the origins of her powers, which were never discussed in the series, and how her life has been since she joined the Guardians of the Globe. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin.
Never let you die.
The secret origin of Monster Girl. In the animated series Invincible, we see Monster Girl in her young girl form. We hear from her about her powers and how she gets younger and younger each time she uses them. But how did she get the powers anyway? In the 25th issue of the comics, we come across the origins of the Monster Girl. Amanda was a really beautiful young girl. She was born into a rich family and she was doing quite well in her life financially. Her parents had her enrolled in a private school. It was one of those private schools where for the senior year trip, you go to Europe. Amanda obviously went with her friends to Europe, and as a teenager does, she fell in love with a boy there. The beginning of their relationship was not accepted at all by the boy's family, specifically his grandmother. She was not okay with Amanda and that boy dating, but Amanda is from a completely different world, and she obviously was not going to let an old woman throw a wrench into her hot girl summer plans. So, she does what most people do and refuses to let go of the guy. In fact, they take their relationship to the next level by sleeping together in his family barn. Two young lovers spent the night in each other's embrace and left before the sun rose to avoid prying eyes, but they were not aware that there were eyes that they could not hide from. The boy's grandmother had seen them together, and even though her grandson had played his part in this relationship just as Amanda did, the grandmother decided to curse Amanda using a few stray strands of her hair that she found inside the barn. When the curse took effect, while Amanda was flying back home, she was not sure what was happening to her. There were no European viruses or diseases that could turn her into a green monster, and yet there she was. The change was pretty much involuntary at first for Amanda. She could not control it, and she did not know how to, but soon enough, she figured it out. When she did, she decided to use her abilities to help people. She might have been rich and stubborn, but she had a heart of gold. However, soon enough, Amanda noticed the changes in her body, and when she finally understood the gravity of the situation, she had to decide whether she should keep helping people, knowing that her body would grow younger. As stubborn as she was, Amanda decided to keep helping people, even though it affected her body gravely. That gave rise to the sassy Monster Girl that we follow throughout the series.
Still think I'm adorable?
A grueling showdown with Battle Beast that leaves her severely injured. Before we talk about Monster Girl's fight with Battle Beast, we have to talk about how she got into this situation in the first place. So let's take a few steps back. As we know, the Guardians of Globe were murdered brutally, and nobody knew who the killer was. Because of that reason, it was very important to have another team in place as soon as possible. Robot was the one who was put in charge of getting the roster of the new Guardians of the Globe together, and he decided to call forth every single superhero who would be interested in trying out. Even though Invincible was there, he was not there for the tryouts himself. He simply wanted to watch the superheroes duke it out, because for Invincible, this was something that he would not miss. Soon enough, it was time for the announcement that everyone was waiting for, and Robot announced the new roster for Guardians of the Globe. He calls out Monster Girl's name too, which makes Rex laugh. Rex simply could not fathom why a 12-year-old would be allowed to join the Guardians of the Globe. In his mind, there had to be an age restriction there. Hearing his comment, Monster Girl decided to sass him back by implying he was always boasting so much because he was compensating for his small size. Rex was not going to sit there and take on that diss, so he decided to threaten Monster Girl with a lesson he was going to teach her. But before he could finish his statement, a green hand came out of nowhere and threw him down into the arena. That is when Rex finds out about the true powers of Monster Girl. Monster Girl Girl turns into her green humanoid form in front of his eyes, much to his shock, and even though Rex tries to play it cool and fight back, soon it's clear that he is no match for her. Monster Girl incapacitates him pretty easily, and at one point, she is laying it down on him, through and through. 3 of his teeth were already knocked out when Invincible interfered. Thanks to Invincible's punch, Monster Girl came back to her senses and transformed back into a human. With that small display of power, she makes it clear that even though she's small, she's quite talented in her own way. Once the team was arranged, they shifted into the Guardians HQ, where Monster Girl tried to be more friendly with Rex, clearly feeling guilty about the fight they had earlier. Rex retorts, and his conversation attempts are clearly flirtatious. Robot stops Rex because due to Rex's previous mistakes, Adam Eve is no longer working with the Guardians. But despite that, it was clear that Monster Girl definitely found Rex interesting despite his attitude towards her. At first, the team was not working properly at all when they faced off against the Lizard League. While it is true that the Guardians came out victorious, it was also clear that they did not do any teamwork. It was more like everybody did their own thing. That led to Black Samson and Robot pointing it out, much to the team's chagrin. Keeping these points in mind, when the Guardians show up to save Invincible from the goons that Machine Head had hired, there is definitely more synchronicity in the fights. Machine Head had gotten Magmaniac, Battle Beast, Kursk, Furnace, and Tether Tyrant to fight against Invincible. When the Guardians show up, he's in a very bad state. In order to save him, everybody gets into a fight, and Monster Girl ends up fighting with Kursk quite a bit. His electric powers had subdued her significantly, and when Robot noticed, he asked for her other team members to help her out. But the enemies were quite strong. The Guardians were losing. But that was until Battle Beast hurt Invincible terribly. Battle Beast blows a hole into Invincible's abdomen, which leads to Black Samson dismantling his suit and trying to fight the Battle Beast alone. When Black Samson got his wrist snapped, Monster Girl powered through Kursk's electrical binds and reached out to hurt Battle Beast. At first, her ferocity seemed to give the Guardians an upper hand, but this was only momentary because soon she was grabbed by the throat. Battle Beast grabbed her by the throat and plummeted her into the ground. He threw her against the walls like it was nothing, rained punches down on her, and then his finishing move was grabbing 2 rocks and crushing her skull between them. The impact of the crush was so huge that the green skin that she had in the monster form was ripped off and her bones were exposed. Seeing her in this state forced her teammates to take more action, which led to their victory. Even though they did not get to avenge her by fighting with Battle Beast, they did end up defeating the rest of the troop, and Machine Head was taken into custody. However, it was not a time for celebration because she was in a terrible state. Can Monster Girl survive the aftermath of her brutal clash? Monster Girl, Invincible, and Black Samson were sent to the GDA's emergency, and all 3 of them were in critical condition. While Invincible's Vitramite genes worked overtime to heal him, and Black Samson's powers returned to him and made him better at a significantly quicker rate than expected. Monster Girl was struggling terribly. She was drowning in her own blood with cranial fractures, and the prognosis was not looking good. The doctors tried to intubate her as per procedure, but the attempt failed because the moment they put the tube down her throat, Monster Girl transformed into her humanoid form, which led to the tube being pushed out. It was clear that the doctors had no idea how to help her, but that was when an unexpected visitor showed up. It was Robot. Robot told the doctors that he had studied Monster Girl's physiology extensively and he knew how to make sure she stayed alive. The doctors were skeptical, but when he dubbed down that if he was not there, she would die, the doctors relented and listened to whatever he had to say. Robot asked for a 2% belladonna and 5% wolfsbane solution to trigger Monster Girl's natural healing abilities, and when the doctors did not have that, he urged them to find it. Later, when Robot goes to visit Black Samson, we learn that Robot had even traveled to the Arctic to make sure that the Monster Girl survived. Black Samson pointed out that Robot seems to care for Monster Girl a lot. Robot mentions how he's programmed to care for all humans, but as he did not go to the Arctic to help Samson, we can safely conclude true that he indeed has a soft corner for Amanda. Robot stays with Amanda until she finally opens her eyes, and although waking up and seeing the robot shocked Amanda a little, she was happy to know that someone was there. She was touched to know that Robot was there for her entire time, but the feeling quickly turned when she found out what else Robot had done. When she finally got out of the hospital and returned to the HQ, she was greeted by her teammates in a surprise celebration of her recovery. Rex handed her milk cartons full of beer that he specifically prepared for her. The soft corner that she had for Rex definitely grew a little, but Robot had things up his sleeve. Soon, Amanda had to come to the terrifying realization that the person who broke Mahler twins out of prison was Robot himself when she found herself face to face with Rudy, the human version of Robot, who was in the clone version of Rex but only younger. This came as a shock to pretty much every member of the team, but Amanda understood why Robot did what he did. Realizing that Robot went so far because he liked her, and he knew that Amanda was attracted to Rex, he lined Rex was quite a shock for Amanda, which she needed some time to process. As she worked on that, the world was falling apart as Omni-Man and Invincible started fighting. Even though Cecil had given an order for the Guardians to stay put, when Black Samson urges them to go out and save lives, everybody geared up instantly except Rudy. Until now, Amanda and Rudy had not spoken after the whole realization of what he had done came to the surface. But when Rudy is scared to gear up, we see Amanda remind him that he is not a robot anymore. He does not have to simply follow orders, and he can do whatever his heart wishes. With that, she tells him to join them, and Robot does. By the end of the series, we see that even though it has not been long since Monster Girl had faced off against Battle Beast and almost died, she's back on her feet, being a hero because that is the right thing to do, and because she is part of the Guardians team.
There she is!
So good to see you. Hi, there's our girl. Hey, hey.
A closer look at the powers of Monster Girl. Monster Girl definitely is a powerful addition to the Guardians of the Globe, even though at first she may not seem like it. Rex Splode himself was taught a lesson regarding this when he doubted Amanda's capabilities of being part of the group. Now, what are the powers that this seemingly 12-year-old girl can hold? As Amanda was cursed by her lover's grandmother, she cursed her physiology. Her body definitely is not like ours. She's accelerated healing abilities, which allows her to heal herself considerably quickly. We see it in front of our eyes when she faces off against Battle Beast. By the time the fight is done, Amanda is drowning in her own blood. Any normal person would have died on the spot, but Amanda's body was already healing itself, which gave her the fighting chance that she needed. Even Robot mentions that the only way Monster Girl can recover is when her healing abilities are triggered. As she transforms into the green humanoid monster form, her muscles grow denser, her skin turns almost invulnerable to any type of conventional injury, and she's able to survive even under extreme temperatures. In the series, we do see that the size of her body also changes, even in the green monster form. It's noticeable that the bigger she is, the stronger she becomes, so superhuman strength is also something that she got out of this curse. Now, one of the biggest abilities that Amanda has is her combat skills. She's a skilled combatant, and her focus is mostly on the brute force that she can produce and her instinct while in the monster form. Based on these two, Amanda has faced previous dangers and won. However, this ability of hers works like a dual-edged sword because while it has given her significant victories, it has also caused her downfall against Battle Beast because he himself is quite the skilled combatant, but he does not rely on sheer brute force while planning out his attacks.
There she is!
So good to see you. Hi, there's our girl. Hey, hey.
Marvelous verdict. Amanda is a very interesting and relatable character because with her portrayal on screen, you can truly understand how she feels about being the one with so much power. But the power comes with the cost of being trapped in a significantly younger body. Even though she looks 12, Amanda has the mental maturity of a 29-year-old, and she does not hold herself back. Since her introduction, Monster Girl has proven herself to be a genuine character who is ready to be a ride or die for her friends. And that makes her quite a superhero in my eyes. Needless to say, I would be waiting for her story arc in the second season of Invincible. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe.